In this lesson, we will create bone objects for the character's head, neck, and jaw. Let's get started by moving over to our side view, and we'll zoom on in. From there, let's go to Tools, Manage Layers, and we'll go ahead and freeze our model layer. Great. That way, as we start to create bone objects, we don't accidentally select any of our geometry. So it's just for convenience. And speaking of convenience, remember, it's a good idea to work with our Animate Quad menu to access tools that we'll be using throughout this course. So you can see it's very easy to get to our bone tools or our constraints from this menu. A lot faster than having to constantly go back to the animation menu and search for our constraints or grab our bone tools. And remember, to do so, it's just a matter of going to Customize User Interface at the top, go to the Quads tab, find the quad menu you'd like to work with, and then simply go ahead and drag and drop your tools from the commands list. And don't forget to save out your list afterwards. Alrighty. We'll go ahead and get started. We'll make sure we're in wireframe mode, just hitting F3. That way we can keep track of our topology. We'll go ahead and grab our bone tools. If we were to choose Create Bones, you can see that right now our width and height are pretty low. But what I'll do is go ahead and show you how to change this from using a max script, as we've done before. And then we'll go ahead and increase this if we need to for the other bone objects we'll create. So let's get started. We'll create a bone at the base of the neck, and then the next pivot point we'll create will be right where the head connects into the neck. Now for a natural pivot point, it'd be a little bit higher, but we're creating an extra head pivot. We'll add that shortly, and that's going to allow animators to create more flexible deformations as they animate the face, so they can do things like add follow-through and overlap easily. So we'll take a look at that. But let's go ahead and finish this chain. We'll create a nub at the top of the head. Let's go ahead and right-click to exit our Bones tool. Alright, great. So right now you can see that our bones are pretty thin. Let's go ahead and grab our neck and head bones, minus the nub. We'll have to create a new one. We'll right click and head over to our listener window. I'll go ahead and clear out everything here. We'll use our max script to increase the width, so that's going to be $.width. And we could have this equal to, let's say, about 3. Alright, so we'll go ahead and run that. Let's go ahead and take a look at what this does. So you can see the width is pretty decent here for this character's face. I think we can go ahead and keep that, and let's go ahead and do the same thing now for the height. So we'll hit Enter on our keyboard just to go to our next line here. And we'll now use the max script that we would use to change the height. And we'll use that same value of 3. There we have it. So if we were to go ahead and take a look at our perspective view, and if we were to go ahead and move over to wireframe mode, we should see that, alright, this is much better than what we had before. Let's go ahead and grab that nub object. It's very small. Let's go ahead and just delete that. We'll grab the head bone, and we'll go ahead and choose Create N. Very nice. Alright, now what we can do is create our jaw bones. So I say jaw bones, yes, plural, because again we're creating an extra head pivot, and that will be our upper jaw bone's purpose. And then we'll create a standard jaw as well. So we'll move back over to our side view, and we'll grab our bone tools. So this will pivot from, again, right around the earlobe. We'll create the lower jaw first. Alrighty. Looking at the size here, it looks like we can increase this. So if you wanted to, you can now head over to your Modify panel and adjust the size here, maybe to about 2. So the width and height, we'll go ahead and set them to 2. That looks good. We'll go ahead and grab the nub object, delete that, and go ahead and choose Create End. Now if we were to go ahead and grab our Bones tool again, you'll notice that the width and height for this tool settings are still at 0.5, so we could always increase this to 2. We might drop that down when we're ready to create our eyelid bones, and that's going to be done in the following lesson. But let's now go ahead and create a pivot for the upper jaw, and we'll have it start from right around that same point as the lower jaw did, and then we'll have that continue all the way down to the upper lip here. Now, just to make sure we don't add our bone object to this hierarchy, we'll go ahead and click close to that pivot point, but not directly on top. And then again, we're going to go ahead and continue all the way down to the upper lip. All right, very nice. So from here, we can go ahead and grab the upper jaw bone, and we can use our quick align tool to align it to the lower jaw's pivot point. So we'll press Shift A, and we'll now go ahead and click on the lower jaw's root. All right, fantastic. So now what we can do is go ahead and take both the upper and lower jaw bones and have them linked to our head bone. Let's go ahead and take care of that. And then we can go ahead and grab the neck, and we'll press Control Page down to grab the entire hierarchy, or we could always just double click on the neck bone. Either way, we want all of these bones selected, so we can now go ahead and freeze their transforms. So we'll go ahead and Alt-right click and choose Freeze Transform. All right, so now as we start to test out our deformations when we're ready to skin, it's very easy to bring this bone back to its skin pose by Alt-right clicking and choosing Transform to 0. Great. Now with those same bone objects selected, again, we'll just go ahead and double click on our neck root. Let's head over to Tools, Manage Layers, and we'll add them all to a layer, as we've done before, and we'll name this layer Skeleton. All right, great. Let's make sure the default layer will remain the active layer. And the last step is just to go through and rename each of these bone objects. So we can head over to our perspective view if we'd like, and we can just go through and use that same naming convention that we've used before. So that's BN for all bones that will be enveloped, underscore neck 01. When we get to the head bone, that will be BN underscore head 01. We know that we will not skin to the nub, so that will be BE underscore head 01. All right, so for the upper and lower jaw, works the same way. Right now I have the upper jaw selected, so that's going to be BN underscore upper jaw 01. Let's go ahead and copy that name and use that to rename its nub. So that will be BE upper jaw. Let's go ahead and grab the lower jaw and finish up and have that renamed. So that will be lower jaw. All right, great. I'll go ahead and copy this name and take care of the nub to finish up. And there we have it. All right, so we've created bone objects for the head, neck, and jaw. And once we start to envelope, you'll notice some really nice results from this upper jaw, as long as we make sure we paint our weights properly. But we'll get to that shortly. Let's go ahead and move to the next lesson and work on adding bones for the eyes and eyelids.